Do you think there could be someone who can't find their own home? There is such a story. In 1999, Q was in second grade elementary school, living in the staff housing towers of a factory in a third-tier small city. At that time, school got out every day at 4 p.m. Q's parents worked in the factory, getting off work at 5:30 p.m., so Q had over an hour of free time in between. On a certain day after school, Q ran home as usual, eager to watch his favorite cartoon that was about to start. Their building was a 6-story tower, with Q's home on the 5th floor. In a hurry to see the cartoon, he raced up the stairs, taking them 2 at a time. When Q was running from the 3rd to the 4th floor, he misstepped, only going up 1 stair, nearly tripping. I'm sure everyone has experienced this sudden jolt in your heart. But when Q stumbled, not only did his heart lurch, he felt the whole building shake for a moment. Then he felt the entire world become strangely quiet. After Q collected himself, he didn't run anymore but slowly walked up to the 4th floor. After turning the corner past the 3.5th floor, Q glanced up and was stunned. Their whole building had security doors only on the 4th floor, which Q passed daily, so he couldn't be mistaken. But what he saw in front of him now was a wooden door on the 4th floor. The security door was gone. Also, the pattern on the door looked the same as the 3rd floor. Going closer, he confirmed this was indeed the 3rd floor. Could it be that Q had just come from the 2nd floor and remembered wrong? Somewhat puzzled, Q kept climbing, but after the corner, another glance up showed it was still the 3rd floor. Q broke out in a cold sweat, turned and raced downstairs. But after the corner, it was still the 3rd floor. After repeated climbs up and down 7 or 8 times, Q had completely lost his courage to try again. Q thought about calling for help. He leaned out the stairwell window overlooking the factory where his parents worked and its 2 gardens. Strangely, these areas usually had people, but now Q saw no one. Even the birdsong in the trees below was absent. It was as if the whole world's mute button had been pressed. Well, after all this, the sun was starting to set. Q couldn't hold it in anymore and began crying. His wails sounded exceptionally loud in this soundless world, echoing eerily in the stairwell, making it even more frightening. Outside, the sky gradually darkened, bizarrely without a single lit house. At that point, Q seriously considered jumping from the window. Firstly out of fear, and secondly to quickly escape this bizarre building and find people. Just then Q felt his keys in his pocket, igniting an even stronger desire to get home. Suddenly a thought flashed through his mind: use the keys to make a continuous mark on this floor and see if it would still be there when he circled back. As the line reached the corner, that same feeling happened again, the whole building shook. Then the roar of cars, human voices, barking dogs, all the sounds suddenly surged back in. Each sound was exceptionally clear and comforting. Q was stunned for a second before frantically running upstairs. This time it was no longer the 3rd floor he saw. Seeing the 4th floor security door, Q dashed up like he'd seen his savior. Finally reaching his own front door, Q's dad had just opened his mouth to ask where he'd been playing so late coming home, when Q burst into tears with a wail. That night Q developed a fever, bedridden for 3 full days, drifting in and out of all kinds of dreams where he was still in that building. After regaining lucidity, Q couldn't distinguish if it had been real experience or an extremely long, vivid dream. But every time he passed the 3rd floor, the line scraped into the wall with his key reminded him, yes, he had lived through that. What do you think you would have done in Q's situation? Let me know in the comments. Alright, see you in the next story.